I'm Rick Silas. Welcome to my studio. I'm a glass artist who's been working in tempered plate glass for about 30 years. I've developed several new techniques to recycle waste tempered plate glass, including one that actually allows me to bend it without heat. Today, we're going to focus on one that I call night ice, which is a technique I've developed for making very beautiful candles, like this. This glass is very badly damaged from years of being basically left outdoors in a glass scrapyard. So this one and a whole bunch of sheets just like it, which really have no other use, will now be put on the floor, all shattered and basically stomped on until it's not sharp anymore. And then we're going to start pouring it into buckets to turn the candles on. So first thing we do is get our aprons and safety gear on. It's not going to work. The nail's too soft. The steel, believe it or not, in the nail is actually quite soft. So you can see that shows how tough the glass is. We've actually flattened the tip of the nail. So that's what tempered plate is. So I'm just going to drive the hammer through it. So here we go. Okay, so now I'm just going to remove this frame. You don't want to be wearing good shoes, but you want to be wearing shoes with good thick bottoms, I'll tell you. So now we'll just take this frame out of here. Very easy way to remove it. And you've got to be careful with this part because this frame is full of a sandy material and you don't want it to collapse into the mixture. So you see a few little black bits here. A bit of tar has got through the sealed units. Just pick out that. Not much, just a couple of pieces. And then there's one piece here you can see down here with some tape on it. Well, the reason I did that was this area of the glass had some black stains on it that I couldn't get off. So rather than let them get into the mixture and contaminate it, all I've done is put some duct tape on the glass. So what's happened, you can see the black stains are there. Now they all go into the garbage, nothing's wet, the rest of it. So none of the glass is contaminated with anything that you don't want to be seen. So that just goes into the garbage. Okay, now we're going to grab the corner of the tarps and we're going to pull everything up to the center. The idea is to create a nice big pile. Now it's really good to have thick soles on your shoes, but there's two reasons we do this. One is to break the glass up into tiny pieces. The other is to make the glass quite safe. Tempered plate isn't very sharp compared to normal glass, but it is still glass and it can still cut you. So what we do is we're doing here is in effect using the glass to sandblast its own edges. Now we're going to put them all in the buckets. So these are basically just used ice cream buckets. We bought them at the local corner store for 25 cents each. Do the job just beautifully. Okay, the powder is the finer glass and it drops to the bottom. And basically you don't really want that in the mixture because it's very dense. So it makes it very hard for the polymers to bleed through, as you'll see in a few minutes when we get to that point. So we're going to actually leave a little bit of this residue and actually toss that. Now, we simply take these and wall tiles. These are 5-inch tiles. They sell for $1 a piece. All we do is we take a tile, we drop it down on top of the glass. And I leave it down about 1 inch. You'll see why in a little while. But basically like that. And you go, just keep going on, put them all on, hammer them down a little bit so they're fairly tight to the surface. So you want to get it as flat, touching the glass on the edges as possible. Okay. We're going to pour polymer over these and it's going to run down the sides. So you want these tiles very much centered in the middle of the buckets as well. So what we're going to do now, take a bit of tissue. So this is basically polymers, epoxy resin, EX74 material I use. Almost any type of polymer will do. It's a 50-50 solution. And what I always do is these buckets start off even, and when I make my mixtures, I always end up leaving them even, that way you always get equal parts when you do the mix. You should work with air removal. So you can see, now I'm going to do about 6 candles tonight. So my mixture here, to do 6 candles, what we need from these bottles is about 1.5 inches of material collectively, like 3/4 of an inch from either. Wipe the lid so you don't get run down. It's really important to try and keep it as clean as possible. It's messy stuff, and it's not as bad once it's mixed. You got 45 minutes to work with it, and then it goes hard as a rock. So you got about that time period. The warmer your room is, the faster it's going to set. So basically now I've got my mixtures even. My 2 buckets are looking the same. So I'm just going to throw that away. Okay, now put the lids back on the containers. Make sure you put the white one back on the white container and the black one on the black container, because if you don't, you're never going to get them off again. This stuff is tough stuff. So we've got the 50-50 in there. Now, as you'll see in a few minutes, what we're going to do is we're going to use gravity to make these. So in an effort to make the polymers a little thinner so it runs down better, I'm just putting in a touch of methyl hydrate. Now, methyl hydrate is nothing more than alcohol. And what it will do, it'll make the material much more watery. So what happens there is simply run down better, and the methyl hydrate itself evaporates at a high rate of speed. So it'll go in originally into solution, but before it's dry, it's all gone. So you take your brush after you take it out of the brew, make sure you stir for about 3 minutes. Take the brush, basically, or anything you're working with, leave it on polyethylene. Polymer will not stick to polyethylene. That's why we're using these polyethylene buckets. It won't bond to it. There's a separator. So there's a polyethylene cover on the table, polyethylene buckets, and basically it works quite well. So now I'm just pouring a bit of polymer on each one, just like pouring out a pancake. Like so. I've mixed. Okay, Darcy, you just take the scraper and push them off.
All right. Just a little bit?
Yeah, just push them all in.
Possible, I guess,
yeah, clean them right off.
All right. Evenly distributed,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah. So basically that's it. Now we're go back over to the beginning. Right, so now I'm just pouring a mixture and all the edges are covered.
Okay.
Like so, like so. Now you notice before I said to leave an inch on the top of the bucket. So now what's happening is the polymer, by gravity, is being pulled down through the shatters. So now we're simply going to take the lids that came with the buckets, and all we're going to do, this is just a good way to contain the fumes overnight, so we just take these and put them back on each one of their own buckets. Actually, I put them on upside down, they work best. So basically now, that just contains any fumes during the night. So that's why I dropped them a little shallower, just like that. Okay, well, let's see what we did. So basically now, these are all the ones we poured last night, and they've dried overnight. So we just take a big plastic container. Okay, now this was one of the dark ones. This one's done with the glass from the Cuban Pavilion of Expo 86 we've already talked about. So basically you take it, turn it upside down, tap it a bit, out it comes. Let's see what we got. You never know from one day to the next. Basically, shake it off really good, and presto, candle.
That's nice. I like the different colors of glass.
Yeah. Okay, let's put this one down. Let's see what else we got. Yeah. Poof.
Wow, beautiful.
Candle.
Very
So you can see the methyl hydrate gives you the height. These are good, 8 inches high, 9 inches high. Beautiful. Ice-like stalagmites. And that's what I call night ice candles. So the one thing left to do again is coat it with polymer. Then we drop a glass Vodum in. And the reason we put the Vodum in is it contains the candle. Remember, this does have a polymer coating. So the idea of the Vodum is to contain the flame inside pure glass. And when I sell these, I always do that. And I have a little thing explaining to people. They're pretty easy to maintain and clean. If they get dirty, just vacuum them off. And, or if they're outdoors, just hit them with a garden hose. And that's about it.